All right, I'm going to get moving along just to, I mean, everybody here was on time, so we may as well get going with it. They can jump on as we're going through. This is not going to be a really long webinar. My portion of it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes to a half an hour, if that long, but I will open it up to questions. I know everybody has their own preference as far as their email and what they're using, but just to go over this really quickly, we found a need, and surprisingly so, to go over just the basic concepts in email. I find a lot of people don't know about folders, how to organize within their email. I've had some people that got the concept but weren't using it properly, so to speak. We've got signatures, settings. So what I'd like to do here is I'm going to take just the top three. Obviously, Realty Executives International email is our preferred email. So I'm going to take you in and show you what that email looks like, the basic functions, and where to find everything. Unfortunately, there's two formats of REI mail, so I will go in and just review both of them. Outlook, again, now they have both web-based and hard drive. I can go into both. The REI email does have an Outlook version, and I have Outlook on my hard drive that I use pretty much as an outbound only. And for anyone that is using that outbound only within Executive Access, that too is a web-based Outlook. So they all function pretty similar as far as formatting and settings. Gmail, obviously, that is probably the more popular of the web-based free emails, and we still have some people on Yahoo. I can't get into everyone's, internet-based, the Embarks, the Opt-Onlines, but I can help you independently. And again, towards the end of the webinar, or at the actual end of the webinar, we will be going to question and answer, and this way anyone that doesn't need to be on the line can go about on their regular day. So again, we're going to go into settings, review defaults, folders, and sorting, reply all, and forwarding. Blind copying, huge, especially when we're sending out to databases. Priority, I will go a little bit onto a distribution list. I don't want to get too crazy today. This really was meant to be for beginners. But I'll show you in mind what a distribution list looks like and how easy it is. You just put that one name in a blind copy and you can send out to hundreds of people at one time. And that's typically what I do, especially when you see the invitations go out for this webinar. That's exactly how I do them. Read receipts and delivery notification. I was also surprised at how many people read receipts. I know when you get them it's annoying, and you have some people that put it in every single email, but you also know that you have the option of not hitting that button and showing them that you read it. So to circumvent that, especially when you have someone, and we know who they are, that continually claim that they never got our email and we know that we're sending them, there is a delivery notification option. That is in Outlook. I've not seen it everywhere, but in both the web-based and the hard drive. And again, we can explore settings on Gmail and Yahoo to see if they have something similar. They should. It's pretty common. Sending images in the content, and we are going to really quickly go into Executive Edge so that you can see what that looks like and how easy it is to get one of the flyers that Vanessa or Jackie provide into an upload your own piece and send it out. It is really very simple, and at least the image itself, whether it be the broker open invitation, the public open invitation, new price, just listed, whatever the case may be, if you're using the pieces from again Vanessa or Jackie and not the stuff that's built into Executive Edge, it's really easy to just pop it on there. Importing and exporting, that's the CSV that you'll hear me speak about sometimes when we're talking about contacts and the CRMs. And then we're going to open it up for questions. I do have a little bit of best practices that I've added right after I did that as common. I'm in the car driving here and I'm thinking, you know what, we really need to talk about wallpaper and fonts, colors, sizes, and some of these oddball things that may actually be more of a hindrance on an email than something that makes it outstanding. So with that, at the end, I just show everybody this screenshot. On the sidebar on Go To, if the arrow is right now facing left and you hit it, it expands, and this is exactly what it will look like. So at the end, you can either raise your virtual hand and I'll open your mic for questions. If you don't have audio, by all means, you can just type the question in here. This will populate to send when there's content in there, and I can read that and answer your questions from there. So with that being said, we're going to go live, which is always fun when we're on these things. So let me go into right here. First place we're starting is Realty Executives email, and for most of you, we know by now that the way to do that is to get it through Executive Access. So I am going to go into my Realty Executives. Everything that I'm doing today is live, so bearing that in mind, be patient and hope it all works. I did go through all of the emails to make sure that they were up, functioning, and as clean as I can possibly get them. So we are going to start with the Realty Executives email, which is accessed right here under Quick Links. Mine is being forwarded, as many of you are, so it's not going to look like much, but at least we can get the basics. For those who are using it, you can get the basics as far as settings. I'm going to go to my inbox. You'll see here, like I said at the very beginning, there are two versions of the Realty Executives email via USA.net. This one is called the Classic View. Doesn't look a whole heck of a lot like Outlook, but the new one does. But for anyone that prefers this, obviously we have the inbox here on the left-hand side, and then you've got the pre-populated or the defaults, and that's going to be on every email. You're always going to have an inbox, a sent, a draft folder, trash. This one has junk mail. Some do, some don't. And then you've got the option to add folders. Now on this classic view, what you will see here is up on the very top, right mail, we've got, as you scroll down here at the very top of the second portion, this is all of my active folders at this time, obviously right mail and calendar, then my address book. Right underneath here, there's folders. So if I click on the folder tab, again, this is classic only, and slide down, this will give you all of your current folders. It will allow you to see how many are in here and the space for anybody using this email. You know how precious that is, the space that it may take up. But then at the very bottom here, you'll have the option for new. And at that point, you would click on new. You would type in your new folder, and OK. And you will see that that folder will then put itself in alphabetical order and pop up right here under folders. Okay, that's simple. I'm going to go on to settings on the Classic before I go into the new version of this, and we'll go from there. So from here, right underneath here, this is all of mine are always open. You'll see here some of you may start off with the plus sign rather than the minus sign, and that's just an open or close option, pretty much like your computer. So under Preferences, we're going to click here. We're going to choose Settings. And from this Settings, fairly simple right here, General Settings. Most of this stuff is default. I did find that a lot of people here had this as a Mountain, and that's the default for International because that's what they're on. It would be a benefit to you to make it on your own time, especially if you're going to be setting up any vacation. And I will show you how to do that if you're going on vacation. Even if this is forwarding, you're going to want to put this one on vacation mode. So that is what you would have here. Read mail. I always recommend not to use the preview pane. And that has stemmed back from some typical viruses that we were able to find in the computer. It is almost like an open. You're pretty much opening your email the minute that you're looking at it or previewing it. So it's really not good to keep that in there. Everybody has their own preference, but just to keep you safe, it's better not to have it that way. Writing mail, obviously this stuff is all self-explanatory. Quoting original message, that just means that when you're replying, the original message stays in there. This is all personal preference. Spell check we're going to get into towards the end. And then here, save recipients on this one, a little prompt here for new. So if you're replying to someone or if somebody's coming in on a new email, it'll either always save that person in your contacts, never prompt you to save the person in your contacts, and you can see that that's a new option. It was usually a one way or the other. Calendar tasks, if you use the calendar in here. Again, all self-explanatory, but where you find it is preference and settings. And I'm going to click out on cancel, and in true to form, I always go back to the beginning here. You'll see that when that goes down, what happens is it defaults to the basics in preferences. So if you chose preferences, you'll see here you have your settings, individual profiles, passwords. Please don't go in here and change your password. A lot of people have been, and it is completely separate from your executive access, and it tends to get confusing. Permissions and then signatures. This is the one that a lot of people are looking for. You'll see here there's a signature. I've got two. I have two signatures because I have two different job descriptions. So depending on which one is how I automatically default. Simple here. I just choose the one to default. You've got delete and you've got edit. Now, I know a lot of you, and it was great fun when we first started, and we had those adorable little signature banners, and people were getting some custom made. I know I custom made a few for some. In here, and you'll see here's one. I don't use this email, which is why it hasn't been changed from fall. What you'll see is the fall banner. We have gotten away from the banners on the signatures because most people are using their smartphones to view their email. It actually becomes a problem. It shows up at attachments. It drags the email down because it is quite large and does take up a lot of space. If it's something that you absolutely cannot live without, okay. In this particular email, this is a link, and the best way to show you what that's going to look like is just go into plain, and hopefully that'll switch it. There we go. Okay. So what you'll see, hello. What you'll see is nothing. It won't show me the link. Oh, here we go. I'm going to go back in here and cancel. It actually did it when, if you take a real quick eye on it, and I don't know why, but my GoToWebinar decided to open on me. As I click on the edit button, you'll see here that started off as a link and then just got itself into. Where you can find this information, let's go back to agent. In the document center, again, if this is something that you can't live without, I'm no longer using them on my signature, and I use a web-based Outlook to send mine. But where you can find this is, hopefully I coded it properly. Yeah. If you just went in and clicked on email banner, in our internal communications, you'll notice that the email banner comes up, and what that is, it is the page. Hopefully this all plays nice with me because this is something I did not test this morning. And I'm getting the flashy little cursor as well. I'm hoping that that is not an indication of problems. It does not seem to be opening. Oh, here it is. Wow. Okay, it's taken a while. I guess I have a lot open. So give it one more second. It looks like it's saying it's 1 second, and we should see it pop up. And there we go. Okay. So what you'll see here, you'll see these links, these image source links. You would have to copy from arrow to arrow and then place that in, and I'm going to go in and see if I can get this to work. Again, I've got a lot going on my screen, so the more I try to add, there we go, the less it's playing nice with me. So if I went in and I decided that this is the one I want, arrow to arrow, I click copy. I'm going to take that down, and I'm going to go back into my email. I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to paste that code in. And I know it looks junky, but once you click on OK, and then click back into edit, you will find that it took that link, and it makes it really, really big. And then what I'll do from here is I'll size it down just a little bit, and you can do that just real quick by grabbing the corners and dragging the corners in. And again, I've got a lot open, so it's a little jittery today. But you just grab the corner and resize, and that's how you would go ahead and change that in here. So again, you've got preferences, we've got individual profiles, passwords, signatures. I do want to go into permissions. It's permissions on the other one. I'm looking for the, I believe it's under services. Let me just go into services. Here we go. Services. Okay. And it opened up everything. Here we go. We've got collecting. This is where you would go for your spam filtering, vacation reply. As I said earlier, when your time, if the time is still on mountain, it could be a problem. But you would then just go into a vacation reply. Obviously, this was one from last year. But what I would do is click on edit. Since I have a vacation reply, and I would go in. But you'll see here you can schedule it as of midnight the day before you're leaving. And this just has a little information. It was for my vacation last year. So I'm going to click on cancel, but that's where you find it. So you're clicking under the services right up here. You've got your vacation. If you're going to forward to another email, I typically do that for people. You can get that here as well. There is some message history. It does not work if you're on forward automatically, but if you do save email in here, you can actually retrieve deleted emails. So we're going to move on to the new email. Again, we're still in Realty Executives, and it's just a matter of clicking on that. You'll see here that this looks a little bit more of what you're used to, so it is a web-based Outlook. Still your inbox. These are your generals, your inbox, your draft, your sent, your junk, and your trash. I've got my folders here. So now if I wanted to add folders on this one, I would choose Manage Folders. So it's a little bit different. And then up here is where you would type in the new folder name. Okay. And we're sliding them down here. Now from the inbox, and I'm just going to take one and move it in. Real simple. If I wanted this one to go into my SCAR folder, I click on, I just check right next to it. I choose the drop down to move. I slide down, and again, they all default to alphabetical order. SCAR is for the Sussex County, and that's what Rachel is, so I'm going to move it in there. I choose the folder, and it moves it right in. That works the same for every single Outlook, and it doesn't make a difference where you are. It also works, I'm going to go back to Classic. It would also work very similar in Classic View on this one. And again, I've got a lot open, so be patient with it. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to the inbox here, and if I wanted to move this one as well, I would go here, and then there's the Move To, and I would scoot down, and I would find my folder, and I would choose it. And it's taking its time. Wow. All right, and that is all there is to it. I'm just, like I said, I've got a lot going on. I've got a lot of tabs open on top, so it will move. It'll move that in. I'm going to go back to the new one so that we can look at settings here and go into, as we skip down here, we'll look at options. Now, under options, this is where you'll find your signatures. You've got your general settings, similar to earlier, with your times and how you want to read your email, and here's where they have the pane, the writing email, and your calendar if you're using the calendar there. Signatures, almost the same. Here you would actually just go into the signature and make the change or double click it. There we go. And you'll see here exactly the same way as it did before. And if you give it a second, it'll come in. It's the same signature. It's the same email. It actually took it even though I didn't save it. You've got your profile, you've got your password permissions, message filters. I know that sounds really odd, but that's where your forwarding is going to be. Notifications and whitelisting. And then you've got your vacation reply here. You'll see it's the same exact vacation reply. You've also got restore mail, and again, that's only if you're keeping mail here. Pop collecting if you're pulling in another email from here. I used to do this with my Gmail. It just extracted it from Gmail directly. You've got contacts, tasks, notes, and manage accounts. And that again, if you went in here, if you had multiple, I don't have any accounts to work with. So that's Realty Executives email. I'm going to go real quickly into my Outlook, and I'm going to hope that when I'm not web-based, you guys can still see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my question area. And if for any reason I disappear, just pop it there, or my cell phone is sitting in front of me on silent. Just pop me a quick text and let me know if there are any problems. But I'm going to go now to a hard drive based Outlook, and this is right here. And again, earlier, as I said, I send out the invitations, and I'll show you quickly how a box works here. But you'll see the same thing. The only issue here that I need you guys to keep up with, if you're opening a new folder, and this is where I found that some people were making mistakes because one agent had a whole bunch of folders. You'll see that I do them for my client. So as I get my information in on my listings from Sally or Bertie or my marketing pieces to proof, I move everything in there. Showings, if you're using Supra and you're getting an email on all your showings, just scoot them in there, and this way everything's all in one place. And if your client ever needs any information, or it's all right in a folder with their name on it. So that's what you're looking at here. But again, back to the agent that had, and I kid you not, 55 inbox folders, and that's because what they didn't realize was that you actually have to click on person. This is for Outlook. This is Outlook specific, and not web-based, but hard drive. Click on personal folders, right-click, and then choose new folder. And what will happen is you'll see, and I'm going to go ahead and do it, and just type in new folder, and then I can delete it, is it will come under the personal folders in alphabetical order. So let's go down and look for new folder. And here we go. If you do not have this is not highlighted, personal folders are not highlighted, when you add that folder, it's going to come under whatever it is that you're highlighted, and you may not even know that you're highlighted on anything. Most often, it's your inbox. So what will happen is, if you've got your inbox and you start a new folder, it's going to go under your inbox, and that's not where you want it. Because the inbox, well, at least I use my inbox really, unfortunately, as a to-do list. This is not live. I haven't used this particular Outlook in quite some time. But obviously there was things that I wanted to save as a to-do list reminder. But again, so personal folders here, and then this, like any other, has contacts and mail. Now the one thing that I do want to go in and show you is I am going to go, and this keeps popping open, I'm going to make that smaller again. I am going to go into my address book, which is here. I know it's really small, but I promise you it really is my address book. Whoop. Here we go. And I am going to move this up a little bit so that we could all see it in the middle of the screen. Now what you'll see here is I've got the file tool, and what I have, I can choose on new entry, new distribution list, and OK. And then what you would do is select members. So you would go in and you can select people from here and click on OK. You would name the distribution list. Please don't forget to do that, because you're never going to find it if you don't. And select your members. So for those of you who are used to sending me, and I'm going to hope that I can close this out from here without closing out the whole thing, are used to me sending for the local realtors, I actually have, if I click on new and choose BCC, and you always want to do that on distribution list, because then nobody sees who else you're sending it to. It looks like you're sending it to that one person. You'll see here that plus sign and that highlight means it's a distribution list. And I have that for certain offices. You can do that if you've got a listing. Let's just say you're in there's a divorce and you have to send everything to both. You can just name it that address, and it can go to all the attorneys and both parties, the other realtor, however you want to do it. But it's real easy, and you're not sitting there fishing for all of their names constantly. So that's my distribution list right there as far as local realtors. And again, that's simple, and that does work the same on both the web-based and the hard drive Outlook. So that, we're going to move on now. Go to my Firefox, and we are going to go on to Google, and then we're going to get into some of the best practices. I'm going to hop back to my Outlook, I think, when I'm doing the best practices. I'm just trying to review settings in here. So signing in, obviously, if you've already got a Gmail account, It's pretty simple. I use this for my kids' school more than anything, so we're going to hope it's a clean screen here. Okay, so here we're looking at, State Board of Education. And I know Kathy Smiley's on here. Ignore that one. We're going to click on Settings. And like others, this is where you're finding your settings up here. Now here you've got General. I have to tell you, Gmail has a lot, because of the way it works for business. It really does allow you to use this as a one-stop shop. I did it until I didn't like the formats anymore, so it's completely your call. Obviously, this is hooked up to my Google Plus as well and my YouTube. I use the Google account for a lot. But you've got labels. They call folders labels. So you'll see here that I've got my labels, my inbox, and again, this is just showing how things are working. Accounts, if I had multiple accounts in here, I could put all of this information here. Filters, same thing. If you wanted to filter any of the information. POP and eye mapping, if you're putting it on your phone or forwarding either from here to another email or vice versa, you'll see here that I did have a forwarding and I have disabled it because now this actually goes there. And these are labs, offline themes. This is all really more for Google than it is for Gmail. Stick to the first couple of settings here. As far as that goes, maximum page size, how many conversations on a page. Browsers, for those using Gmail, if you scoot down, you'll see that the signature field is here. This is not something that I use on a regular basis, but if you wanted a signature, you would just go right in here, and I'm getting a lot of flashy on mine. Let me hop back and forth and see if this makes a difference. Okay, it's up. There we go. So I would just go into the body here. You'll have most of this is very similar to Word. So you've got some text options, some bolding, hyperlinks if you wanted. And for the images, there is a little image icon right here, but it is asking you for the URL. Now, if I'm going to cross my fingers that I have it still here from the, and I don't know that I don't, I may not, from the document center, but let's go in and do that again. I don't know that I don't have it on my clipboard, or if it's just because, again, there's a lot going on, and I'm just going to go pick one. It needs a little bit of a modification from what you're seeing here. So this is the only reason I'm getting crazy and even going into this. But I'm going to recopy it from here. I'm going to minimize this time. And here I'm going to paste it. But you'll see that there's no image because this one needs a little bit of modifying. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hope that I'm doing this right. To be honest with you, let's take this off of here and this off of here. And let's go right to the HTTP. And I think I need to take the little brackety things off. As you're going through, just cut a little bit at a time. I don't even think I'm crazy, but eventually, there you go. When you get it right, the image will actually appear at the very bottom, and then you could click on OK, and it'll move right in. And the same thing here. You can actually, if you hit the picture, you have the option of going in and doing small, medium, or large, and that's how you would resize it here. So you see the large is actually a pretty decent size. And then, of course, after you finish your signature, you're going to want to go in and save changes. I don't use this, so I'm not sweating it all that much. I don't have, here we go, a lot going on here, and you'll see, and it's not just invisible to you. I actually can't really see it very well yet. There's a lot of hovering going on in Google because the screen is quite light. But these are all of my my folders and or labels, as they call them in Gmail here. So that is Gmail. For those using Yahoo, if you're on the free, just to let you know this, if you're on the free version of Yahoo, it is very limiting. So for anyone that's still on it, more power to you. I know it's a great program, but it is a bit on the limiting side. So I'm going to go in and sign into, and yes, I pretty much have an email everywhere. Sometimes I just create them so I can get in. Just to remember what I changed this password earlier. Okay. Give it a second because that will work. All right. So in here, I'm just going to click on Mail up at the very top. You've got my inbox. There's nothing in here. It's not something that I use. But at the up over here, this is also identified with a gear. You'll see that if you hover over it, the one thing I don't like about this free Yahoo is you never know what's going to pop up, and apparently it thinks that I desperately need a date and with a woman, because that's all I've been getting all day, are reach out or Dayton Newton for some unknown reason. I guess it's picking up my IP address. So from here, you've got mail options. And give it a second to get in. Come on. There we go. Same as before, how many messages. You've got general, you've got signature, you've got vacation. If you're blocking addresses for whatever reason, mail accounts, pop and forwarding. So again, if you're going to forward this to something else, that information is here. And if you're going to pop to here, that information is here as well. And you've got your filters. That's generally for spam. So this is where you're going to find all of that information. Now, I'm going to hop back to my Outlook. And this is where we're going to go into some of the reviewing. And I'm looking, so I'm assuming I've got no text and I've got no chatting, that everyone can still see and hear me. So from here, we went through settings, the preview pane, the time zone, the signatures. We went through folders, sorting, and how to actually put it in there. Here, I'm going to go into my inbox here. On this one is pretty simple. If I clicked here and then up here clicked onto, am I in my inbox? I'm just looking up here. I don't use this one all that often. I usually just right click and move to folder. And I'm going to put it in new folder because I know I'm going to move that out. So there you go. So it's a highlight on this particular version, a right click, and a move to folder. The web-based does have a move to up on the top of the, do I still have that open? If I do, I'll go back into it. Yeah, here. Let's go into the new, let's go into mail and inbox. So again, the web base has the move to up on the top. And we are going to go back to my hard drive Outlook, which is down here. Okay. So from here, we've got replying. I am going, who could I drive? Let's drive somebody crazy. I don't know who I'm going to drive crazy, but we'll drive somebody crazy. I'll go to GSML's help desk because I'm not actually going to send it. So if I go in here, we've got our reply. Be mindful. Some settings, when you go into your email settings, will allow you to default to reply all. Please don't do that. We don't, I mean, there's a lot of people that don't need to see the reply, and sometimes there's a lot of people you don't want to see the reply. This was just a straight old reply, then you've got your reply all, and your forwarding. A lot of the times what we have, and I'm going to go back in and just click out of this for just a real quick second. A lot of the times what we have is you want to forward something. You've got your two. I have all of mine open. Keep in mind, just because you're seeing this on mine, that is not the default. You actually have to, in your settings, have it allowed to show the CC and the BCC. I blind copy a lot. So on all of my emails, the blind copy is there. Especially if I'm working with one of our reps, I'm constantly blind copying Kyle on the correspondence going back and forth. So I always have the blind copy open. But on the forwarding, if you want to forward an email, you don't necessarily need everyone to see what came to you, and you want it to look like a clean, fresh email. You're just forwarding the information on. The first thing you're going to want to do, obviously, other than the to field, is go into the subject, and right here you can just back it up and get rid of that forward. So the subject name remains the same. Leave the content. Let's just see, I want to do over here, I want to leave this content information. Right from here, it's a simple matter of highlighting what you don't want people to see, and hit the delete button. And then this would go through, if this is what I want everyone to see right here is the information, and let's just say I'm sending it to Kyle. I'll put that in here, and now this looks like, a fairly clean email. Any of the text that was there following that I don't want everyone to see, specifically the receiver of this particular email, doesn't see it. So, quick, easy, read receipts. And again, people use them. Not a big favorite of mine, but in Outlook, it's under option. Depending on your web, and we can go in and look at some of the others, it could be pretty much anywhere. But I'm going to go to, and actually it's not in this one. Where's my drop down menu? Oh, it should be in my options folder. This is for follow-up, importance high. If you really want to do that for importance high, it's got to be here. Am I just not seeing it? Because this is, oh, here we go. Pardon me. I knew it was here somewhere. You could request for a read receipt would be here. And, of course, that would generate a pop-up message. Once they open the email, it'll generate a pop-up message to provide a read receipt. Again, as the user of or the recipient of such a thing, you have the opportunity to ignore it. So there's no guarantee that using a read receipt is going to show you that that particular person received it. However, I do use the request a delivery receipt for this message. It does not require the recipient of the email to do anything on their end, but once there's a confirmation of receipt, you will get an email from the provider with a time and a little blurb about the information. So sort of like a fax confirmation, only on your email, where it's automatically being done, that it was taken care of on that side. There's no bounce back. It's not filtering through the air. That a database out there somewhere grabbed that email and says it's okay. So that's something that if you're not in the habit of doing, and again, you have that one problem person, and I'm not going to say whether it's another agent or a customer, but you have that one problem person that is always claiming not to receive emails, this is a good way, especially if you need to cover yourself or anything, to get that confirmation back to you. And again, I am pretty certain, and we're going to go in and just check it out real quick, that you can do that in just about any program. And I want to see where that is in here. You know what? I need to send an email. This is in inbox format. So let's go in here and spell check signature. There you've got your show BT, you got your priorities here in the normal. Yeah, this one's just got a read receipt on this particular program. I am not seeing, I will double check this, but I am not seeing a delivery receipt built into this particular Outlook program. I've got just the priority here, stationary. Please stay away from stationary. It's another hindrance. I know it looks pretty when they get it. But again, if somebody's opening that up on their smartphone, it really can become a problem. I'm going to make a note to myself to check out the REI email and see if it allows. I do have another web-based email that I use for 100% of the time that I'm not going to open because all my emails are in it. But it also has, that particular web-based program does have it. So I will check with them on delivery notifications for REI and let everybody know if you have any interest, whether or not they can do that. Gmail, I'm going to go into Gmail and I'm going to click on Compose and let's see what they offer us. Oh my, that's not pretty. Oop, get back up here. Again, this was one of my my biggest reasons for stopping it. Subject me, recipient me. We'll go here, and we'll go here. See, they They give you some opportunity here, but I'm not seeing anything anywhere. Well, let's go to more options. Check spelling print. This looks like an all or nothing, so it's either in your settings or not, whereas Outlook will allow you to Outlook will allow you to do that per email sent as it's going out. So that's one of the difference. And again, my web-based Outlook, and I believe Outlook.com is what my web-based Outlook is off of. So they will also do it based per and allow you to do a delivery notification. And again, I find them really useful. So check with, or if you're not exactly sure how to check with your provider, send me an email and we can look into it outside of the webinar. So those are those two. I'm going to go into sending images. So we are going to go back to, let's just get out of here and click on no. We're going to clean up. I'm going to get rid of the Yahoo and the, these all work the same once we're here. I'm going to go back to my inbox. And so from here, I'm going to click on new. I'm working with Outlook right now. Again, pretty much operates exactly the same. It automatically comes from me. I'm going to send it to me at Gmail, and I'm going to type in my open house, join me, whatever it is you want to put in there. And then right from the body in here, this is actually, I am in my, it looks to me like I am in my, my postoffice.net. So this is actually, I'm doing this within Realty Executives. In the body here, you'll see that you have an insert image option. And now that I'm looking at that here, this looks like we went a little bit further as far as, now this priority is all still up here. I thought maybe I can find that receipt or information in here somewhere else, but I am not. So we're going to go into insert image. And what it'll do is it'll bring me to a browse option or an upload option. I am going to go into my folders. This is simple inserting images. Come on, Donna. There we go. And I'm going to go into where I know I have one here. And let's just say, so I'm doing my broker open, which is already come and gone, but I'm going to put it in here. Come on. Not the fastest system in the world. Okay, click on insert. It's going to insert my image, and I'm going to click on send. Not at all that complicated. It's trying to do a spell check. There's nothing to spell check because all it is a picture. Now, same thing goes. Now I am going to go back into my Outlook, and I'm going to clear this message, and I'm not going to save it. And from here, the same thing. If I click on new, and I'm back here again. How do I keep ending up in my web-based? Cancel. Outlook today. Here we go. Much better. We're going new. We're clicking on me. It doesn't matter. Subject, open house. I'm clicking here in the body of my email. I'm choosing insert. I'm choosing picture. It's going to do the same thing for me. It's going to browse. This is actually opening up to my, doesn't matter, my daughter and her friend at their recital. We'll send them myself a picture. We're going to click on OK. And you can see it's a really big picture. Again, resizing is just a simple matter of taking the corners and pulling them together. And not too much crazy stuff. You can center it. This is actually at their last spring recital. Hello. And then click on send, and it's gone. Okay, so that's for those two. And as promised, for most of you right now chewing your nails, I promised that I would get into, and I am going to right now, the Executive Edge and how to get that sent out. So we're going to click on my Executive Edge. We're going live. Right here. Okay, so for those of you using those flyers, again, doesn't matter what kind, we're going to go, whether it be open house, when I say that I mean open house, just listed, whatever it is that Vanessa or Jackie are working on for you, and you're doing it through them and not through here. This is my Executive Edge. I'm going to go quickly to marketing material. We want to choose flyers. This one I am going to do a little slower. So marketing material, flyers, upload your own, so that we start out with a blank canvas. Okay. Typically the format that Vanessa sends is what they call portrait, which is the up and down view. This is landscape, this is portrait. She typically does portraits in 8.5 by 11. So this one here, if you highlight it once, if you just tap it once, it'll show you that it's one page and that it's an 8.5 by 11, and you could tell just by the orientation that you're looking at that it's in portrait format. So you would click on Create and Edit. Give it a minute to load. A lot of fonts for a blank flyer, but it is what it is. Yay. Okay. I am going to give you a little bit of a heads up. In Executive Edge, and this works the same in every single piece that you're working with. If they have a designated area for an image, what you're going to want to do is actually click on it so that it populates these tabs up on top. Choose Replace Image. Rather than adding new image, you're going to replace the image that's here. The reason for that, it will format and size your image to fit in this very space without you having to fuss around with the dragging it. And for anyone that's played around in Executive Edge for any length of time on images, it's not always that easy to get them the proper size. So if you're clicking on here and this populates up on top, absolutely choose the Replace Image. I'm going to go the whole mile even though I already have this here. You would, if she just sent you and you save that image, first and foremost, save the image that Vanessa sends you to your desktop. And it's usually easier to save it as the property name. Click on Browse. I don't have one in my desktop, otherwise I would do it for you. So just again, the step that I missed just now is saving that image that Vanessa sends you to your desktop. So when Vanessa sent me my final proof on that open, and it came to me as an attachment, I right-click, I save as, I choose my desktop because it's easier to find it that way. I name it 64 Low Road, and then I move on into my Executive Edge. I get to this portion. At that point, I would click on Desktop and scoot down. I don't believe I have any photos in here, but if I do, I'll just use it. I don't want to use the CE. So you would scoot down until you found your 64 Low Road. In this case, I'm going to go to the file where I actually have it, which is my client's last name, which is here. Choose the 64 Low Road Broker Open. Choose Open. Give it a moment. It will put itself on the left-hand pane, so it'll go into your images within Executive Edge, but at the same time, it will populate itself into this area. It is a fairly large image, and again, I've got a lot open, so if you just give it a quick second, we should be good. This was actually because I had it in here when the actual broker opened. It didn't save it just now twice. It just saved it again because I asked it to. And I know it is a large file. Now you'll see here the bleed area, the red area, has nothing to do with emailing. That is specifically for print purposes. So don't panic if your information goes out. I recommend to everyone to email it to yourself first, just to make sure that if you have links on there or hyperlinks, that it looks like how you want it to, and everything links properly, and then go ahead and send it to everyone else. So at this point, I would click on the Save As, and I'm going to put 64 Low. Normally, I would just put 64 Low Road BO for Broker Open. In this particular case, because I already have one of those, I'm going to click I'm going to type in Test. Give it a second to save it. We don't need to keep editing because we're done, and we're going to click on Exit Editor. Yeah, we have previewed the piece. Obviously, there's not a whole heck of a lot other than your footer to preview since it was only one image. Now it will go back to the marketing material, but this will now be highlighted. From here, you would choose email. And it'll bring you to the email here when it populates up, and give it a second. Most of us will have a group, and this has my group here. And Sussex Only is the one that I use. I also had one called Local Realtors, but it's all the same. So Sussex Only, add to email. The entire list is going to pop up. You need to add your, I'm not going to send this because they'll all kill me and wonder what I'm talking about. Open house, join me for lunch, whatever it is that you're going to put up here, and then click the send button. I am not going to do that. I'm going to clear the send to list. And that's it. And it'll send that email out just the way it is, the way that Vanessa sent it. You didn't have to make anything as far as modification. If you've not been in Executive Edge before, it's your first time in, please make sure that you edit your profile first, the My Profile section, because if you don't, it's going to go out with the generic lady's face as your email footer. So make sure that your profile is up and running. The other thing I'm going to do just really quickly, I wanted to keep mine shorter, and I ended up going longer than I wanted to, but we're still under our hour time slot, so we're going to go with that. Let me go back to Firefox. Again, this is just an idea to show how simple this really is. I am going to go to my Realty Executives. On my email here, and again, depending on your email, everything is in a different place. If I go down to my contacts at the very bottom, right now I'm in, and I am aware of it, I am in my Realty Executives International email, and I am on the new version or the web Outlook version, and I am clicking on contacts. And you'll see very up on the top here, you've got an import export. So if I wanted to take these contacts right now and export them to a CSV so that I can upload them to my Executive Edge, I would choose the export. I want to leave it as my CSV. I don't know anybody that uses Netscape Messenger anymore. And obviously my Western European. So I'm leaving the default, and I'm choosing. I think I actually have to click on them in this one, but let me see what happens if I just click on export. It may tell me that there's no one here. You have chosen to open address.csv, open with, okay. And there they are. And that's it. And now it's a simple save as, and it's defaulting. I'm going to put it on my desktop so I know I can delete it. And I am going to type in REI contacts so I know where it came from. And I'm going to hit the save button. And yes, it does this to every single one of them every single time, and it makes you hit yes, yes, and yes. Just yes it to death, and don't worry about it. Okay, so I'm going to close that out. Obviously, it does not take out anybody that you already have in here. I know I've had that question before. It's exporting them, but it's not removing them. So now if I went into my contact manager in my Executive Edge, there's an import contacts button right at the very top. I'm choosing Excel because it was in an Excel CSV. I'm sliding down to the bottom and choosing next. I'm browsing. I'm defaulting to my desktop, which is where I put it. And it was REI, so it starts off with folders first and then goes alphabetical. So REI contacts was right here in a CSV. I click on open. Mine does have a header row, and I'm submitting. And you match your fields. So this is a first name, and you click it to first name and last name, and then you just follow, move down, follow the upload contacts. You know what? I'm going to do it reluctantly, but I'm going to do it in a, hold on one second. I am actually going to go back out just really quickly and create a group so that I know I can just go in and create and delete that group once I get in there. So let's go back to my import contacts, Excel, scoot down and click on next. Now up here you'll see that I have all of my groups already populated. So if you wanted to add this entire spreadsheet to one of the groups, you would just click on that group and then move forward. If you wanted to add a new group, which I'm going to do now, I'm just going to type it in as webinar test and click on add, and then scoot down to it and click here. Again, I have header rows, and all that means is a label at the very top, and browse, and go back to the REI contacts and open and submit. Again, we're matching our fields, so first name is here and last name, and of course you would scoot through. There's a drop down here and match everything that you have to. I'm not going to go crazy with it because most of these contacts are already in here. I'm going to choose upload contacts, and it shows me the format that it's coming in. So last name and company, because company was a default on there. Last name, first name, in most cases would have email, company address, yada yada. This is the format, and that looks right, so I'm going to click on accept. I'm going to take this as far as I can and hopefully cancel it without having to upload, but if I do, there's an easy way to get rid of them. So it is now moving in the contacts in that format. In just a minute, we should, I'm crossing my fingers, we should, and I'm hoping I did it where it will give me the duplicate options because that was very important and I want to show it. But there's a lot of contacts in here, so it is taking a little bit. Crud. All right, it did it. It did not give me the duplicate option, but and that's probably because it checks for duplicates via the email address and not the actual person, not the actual first and last name. I wanted to be able to go really quickly through Executive Edge, but we'll do that on an Executive Edge program and not so much on the email. So there is your import and export. It's not as scary as it looks. You can do that from GSMLS. Any of the contact management programs you may already be working with should be a real quick and easy one. And most emails, Gmail allows for it. I know that all the Outlook web-based allows for it. I can tell you for sure that Yahoo Free does not allow you to export your contacts unless they've changed it in the past month. It did not allow me to do that last month. So just real quick, again, best practices, if you can keep away from the wallpapers, colored fonts, switching anywhere other than the default of the black font, not a good idea. Everybody's vision is different. Everyone's cell phone is different. I didn't realize how difficult it was for somebody who was colorblind to see some of the red or the pinks on the whites. So just keep it simple. Unusual, the size of the font. Capitals. I got an email from someone who was not yelling at me, and his entire email was all uppercase. Please don't do that. Try to keep it professional looking. And for anyone that's not really up on email etiquette, those uppercase letters is usually an indication that you're being yelled at or screamed at. So it's not a lot of fun when you open up an email and everything is in uppercase. So be mindful of that. Spell check, spell check, spell check, spell check. Most of you on this call know me extremely personally and know that I'm a crazy person when it comes to grammar and spelling. Please, please, please default your email settings to spell check everything before it goes out, because there's nothing worse than sending this lovely email to a client or prospective client, even worse yet, and having them go through and notice that there are spelling errors. So every email, I've not even seen the free emails that do not have a spell check option. If for any reason you are on a platform that does not allow it, I have ways around it. Depending on your browser, it's a little different. Internet Explorer has IE Spell. Firefox and Chrome have it built in. I'm not a big Safari user, but I know that they have it built in as well. But if you need me, I'll figure it out and get it to work. So please spell check everything before it goes out to anyone. That being said, I'm going to open it up at this point for questions. So for anyone that has a question in here, by all means, you can either type it in or you can raise your hand, as I showed you before, that virtual hand. I believe I still have that right here. There's a virtual hand right here. You can just raise that, and I'll go into the attendee list and see if anybody's got a hand up. I don't see any hands up, and I do have just one. Somebody sent me I had to go. I have an appointment. Talk to you later. That's great. But I'm going to go back in and check it one more time. I am not seeing any hands raised, and I do not see, although I know it takes a little bit to type, not seeing anything in the question box. So I'm assuming you're all email experts at this point. Again, if you have any questions, if you're on a platform that's not on here and are happy with it and just need some help figuring it out, pop me an email, send me a text. We'll either do it over the phone, which is usually pretty easy. I will double check that REI email as far as a delivery notification, but if you're on a web-based program with Outlook or your email actually has it, please utilize that delivery notification. It is a pretty awesome feature. I'm going to go one more time into the attendee list for hand raises, and if I don't see anyone, I'm going to thank you. Enjoy this lovely day. We haven't gotten the rain that they said. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy. Take care. Have a great weekend.